Hey guys, it's good to be back for another exciting episode of YOML. This is the Year of Machine Learning podcast. Today we're actually on 196, another two-part reflection of a book. I think this book, I haven't read this book, but it seems interesting. So we'll see. Chris, what do we have?
Yeah, the book 196 today is part one of two. It's a monthly challenge actually. So
Hmm.
it was the well, you remember I'll tell you in a second. The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning: How to Free Yourself and Your Family from a Lifetime of Clutter by Margareta Magnusson. This book is about something called Swedish death cleaning. So it's like when you know that you're, I don't know, like getting older or something along those lines. And but you can do this at any age of life. But basically, it's just cleaning out your crap, and spending time with it. So your loved ones don't have to someday if you're not here. It's kind of being proactive with your stuff. And like I think of like my grandmother. She has an attic full of a lifetime of garage sailing with my grandfather. My grandfather used to be like, that was his passion, was garage sailing, right? He would go garage sale after garage sale. That's what they did every weekend. And he would come back and he would have 50 of the same item and he would put it into his garage, or in his attic. And my grandmother humored him and she would always go with him and whatever. But like, he passed away like, I don't know, like 10 over 10 years ago now. And her attic is just full of, you know, the most random shit you can ever imagine. And like, not just one of them, like there's like 30 of the same items of the of all the same shit. So she's like terrified to go up there, right? I was just talking to her the other day, and she's like, I'm like terrified to go up there. She was like, I don't even know where to start. And she was like, I don't want to leave it for the kids either, someday when I'm gone. And but like, that's the whole point of the Swedish death cleaning, right? Is to go spend time with those memories and go spend time with the stuff, and then decide while you're still here, like, what do I want to do with it? Like, do I want to burden my family with this stuff while I'm here? Do I want to get rid of it? Do I want to donate it? Do I want to keep it? And do I want to give it preemptively to somebody and say like, hey, I want you to have this, like, this is something that I spent time with your grandfather and I, and this is meaningful to me, even though I won't, like, when she's gone, I won't know that, right? Like, I won't know what it was. We'll just be like, I don't want that thing, like, whatever, like, throw it away, and pitch it. But maybe now, if you do this stuff during life, you have an opportunity to kind of go do that. Does that make sense? I guess what Swedish death cleaning is. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's more literal than figurative.
yeah, no, it is literal. Yeah, it is like, going through your stuff as if you're not going to be here, and I'll go ahead and share my screen. So the reflection that I got from this book was learning to let go of things, literally. And as you remember, a couple books back, we did Wherever You Go, There You Are.
Hmm.
This was a weird like month or two for me. I was doing this Wim Hof, Wherever You Go, There You Are. And then I was talking to my therapist. Her name's Loretta, and she, I don't, like, sometimes it's just nice just to, there's things that frustrate me still in life. I mean, I've gotten a way better handle on like just my general emotions, and how to process those these days, and how to move forward with purpose still with Amelia. But there's still stuff that pisses me off. Like, even after, after you get out of the rubble and you start to resume life, there's still just random shit that'll piss you off, right? And for me, one of the things that just drives me up the fucking wall is clutter. Like, I hate it. Like, I mean, I just don't have the mental capacity to, like, I like to know where everything is and exactly where it is, and to know that it's in its place, and I know what it is, so I can go use it when I want to use it, right? Like, I can't, I don't have time to like store in my head of like, oh yeah, I had this like random cowboy hat that I chucked into my attic behind me or something like that, and someday recall where it is, and why I would ever want to use it. Like, if I don't know where it is and what it's for and what, and how to go get it quickly, like, it'll never get used. And for me, that's a waste. That's a waste. I feel like everything in life should have a purpose, whether you're an inanimate object or a a human or an animal, plant, whatever. Like, I think everything deserves to have a purpose in this world. It doesn't deserve to get just thrown into an attic and, you know, and nobody ever sees it, and you never even know why you had it, you know. Unfortunately for me, that may be my philosophy. I'm not like OCD or anything like that, but like I definitely like to have things in order. I'm not like a clean freak or something. I just like things to be in their place. And my wife is the exact opposite. So she is like, her philosophy I described in this reflection is like helter skelter. Basically, she just buys shit, chucks it into some random corner, and then just stacks and stacks accumulate on top of it, you know. And to the point in time you're like, I have nobody has any idea what's in there. Like, you know, you're just throwing stuff in the corner, you know, like, or you're just piling more shit on top of other stuff. You don't even know what the hell it is, and the pile just grows and grows and grows and never shrinks ever. It never shrinks, like, ever. You know, so this is how her philosophy has always been. And part of it's the way that she grew up, and part of it's the way that I grew up, and, you know, whatever. We have to cohabitate. We're married adults. We've been together for 15 years. I've gotten used to it, but, you know, I've been able to compartmentalize it where I'll just give like her certain areas of our house where I'm like, just make a mess, shut the door. I don't want to ever see it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, this is your space to, like, I just won't ever go in here ever, because it like gives me the heebie-jeebies. Well, there was one particular area actually right back here in this behind this door is a room that's this size on the other side of that room. That's like our attic space, right? That is, you know, just an open space where you can store a bunch of stuff, right? Well, for years, I've been begging my wife. When we first moved into this home, this was a little over 10 years ago. We took everything out of we had like this little storage cellar in our basement at our previous home. And from the day that we moved in there, all of her random shit and boxes just got shoved into there. And I never saw it again, because I was like, I'm never going in this room ever again. And it stayed there until the day we moved. We lived there for like 5 years. And then we moved into this house, and all that stuff went from that room into that room. And I was like, it's okay. Like, it's a really big room. This room's like 4 times the size of the previous room. I was like, we got plenty of room in there.
Never enough.
Yeah. It's never enough. But
never enough. I don't care how big a room is.
I agreed. But it literally never moved. The boxes were never opened. The day that was thrown in there 10 years ago, it never moved. And then only, you know, over the years, it's only gotten worse in there. Like, more and more furniture is built up, more and more random crap, you know. And then obviously add in 2 children, and then stuff gets thrown in there, and it got so bad that you couldn't even walk into there. Like, I mean, it was like you had to like trip over everything, and I was like, oh my God, I can't go into this room anymore. So I read this book, and I was talking to my therapist, and I was talking to my therapist. I was complaining about, because I was begging my wife. I was like, please, for the love of God, what do I have to do to go get? Because most of that stuff in there is hers, and I'm like, I can't just go start chucking her stuff away, throw it away, right? I was like, you have to do this with me. Like, I can't just go throw your stuff away. Like, you're not gonna let me, you know. So I was like, I had been begging her for years. Like, you know, I was like, please, for the love of God, just help me clean this room, because I can't take it anymore. And there's more and more stuff that needs to get shoved into there now that we have children. I was like, you know, I need help, you know. So I'm complaining to my therapist about this, and she goes, you know, she was like, I feel like there's this book that I heard about. It's called like something about like death cleaning or something like that. And she was like, you know, maybe you should check that out. She's like, I know you like to read. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, I'll check it out. So that's how I ended up finding this book, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, huh, okay. As I was reading it, I got this idea. I was like, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna use this as one of my monthly challenges. I was like, I'm gonna go spend 20 minutes a day, put an alarm clock on, and I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna, you know, time myself. I'm gonna give myself some time to spend with just my stuff that's in there, or then I'll go to a closet, just my shit. I wasn't gonna touch my wife's stuff. I was like, I'll go to like pantries and closets and the attic, and maybe I was like, maybe I can make some headway in there with some of just my stuff and old furniture and things that she doesn't care about, you know. And I was like, yeah, we'll see how this goes, right? We'll check out this monthly challenge, and you know, spend some time with the stuff like the book, you know, suggests, you know, have some fond memories, decide what I want to do with it, and either donate it or give it away or throw it away, right? Or keep it, you know. And that was what I did. So that was my monthly challenge for that particular month. Like I said, this was a weird month of letting go, and so this was my month of literally letting go after this. So Part 2 is the results of the letting go challenge. So I'll save that for the, because I'm not gonna give you spoil the results here. But yeah, so that was the inspiration of my monthly challenge and how that all came to be. And the question for you is what's your personal philosophy on stuff management? So like what I learned from this book is everything has a purpose. Like honestly, I think even your shit has a purpose, or should. Like it's not fair to your shit if you don't let it have a purpose. Anyway, yeah, love your thoughts.
So I think first thing is I love to hear whether or not you asked your wife to read the book.
I did not.
Did you?
But
would you consider it? Because
well, I don't want to spoil the results because good things did start to happen. So I don't want to spoil the results.
So what can we talk about then?
we can talk about the idea of Swedish death cleaning, and we can talk about the idea of purpose. Everything has a purpose. Even your shit. Does your shit have a purpose? And then what is your personal philosophy on stuff management?
Okay, I think maybe I should start with what I think about the philosophy of stuff management. For me, personally, I think, whatever is not aligned with me needs to go.
Agreed.
So with that said, I like things that is practical and useful and has some value, because that's who I am.
Right.
And because of that, knowing my values, I can't really say to somebody, hey, it has to be practical. It has to have value for you to keep it, because that's not going to be their core values.
Right.
Their core value could be different. Their core value could be, hey, I like things that remind me of some feelings or some emotions. And I think, it's hard to understand from the other person's perspective. That's why I want to ask you if you have, approached your wife about, because to me, it seems like majority of the thing that you didn't like, it was hers. Right.
Well, that's not true. And that's actually not totally true. The more that I got to cleaning every single day, the more that I realized, man, I had a ton of shit too. Like even though like I try to be
but she has
tidy,
more. She has more.
Right. But I needed to clean up my own shit,
Right. Everybody has shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Whether it's, I mean, I don't want to say shit, but because to me, it's my shit.
Right.
But it's not somebody, other people that probably not that shit. So, it could be their things that they want to keep. And so unless they are not here anymore, sometimes, I don't know whether or not I should be telling people to do something they don't want to do, like asking them to eat frogs, right? For them to throw stuff out, it's hard, but emotionally, because like I said, a beaver must dam. If they are born with the,
clutter gene,
then they want that. It makes them feel like they are prepared for the future, make them feel safe. And for me, it just prevents me from making new things, making space for new things. So for me, I like to clean. I like to be organized. I mean, my wife is almost the same as yours. I think I don't know if maybe I'm guessing, but I see my wife, I see my mom, I see my sister. I mean, they do the same thing. They like to spend on things, and for me, these things are not practical, not something that I would value. But they buy them, and for whatever reason, it's and it's not just like one thing, right? They have like multiple. I mean, like that's why a lot of women, they have multiple shoes. They say, hey, this exact same shoe with a different bow on it.
Right.
Right. So they have like not 3 pairs of shoes, not 30 pairs of shoes, but like 300 pairs of shoes.
Oh yeah.
Right. And dresses and clothes, like they have like thousands of them. I mean, to me, it's not practical. But like I say, from my perspective, it's not what I want. But from their perspective, I can't tell them not to be a beaver, not to be, doing their own thing. So for the most part, my self-management, if it's my personal stuff, I like to kind of keep it, you know, if I think it has value, then I keep it. If it doesn't have value, I toss it. I don't like to keep it. That's the thing is I like to kind of replace things. If I buy one thing, like let's say I buy a new thing, like a new pair of shoes, then the old one's gotta go.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not keeping the old one. Or what I do is I will wear the old one till it like completely breaks before I buy a new one. And that's how I do it. So this is the reason why for me, that's how I am. So for most of my life, I don't buy anything for me, but I still have a lot of stuff. Not because I buy them, it's just because other people buy them for me.
Right. Yeah. Right. Right.
You know what I mean? I have like 3 pairs of slippers just because my wife buys them for me, and then I have like a bunch of shirts because you know my sister buys them, my mom buys them. You know, it's like
Right.
I have so much stuff that I for me it's like I don't buy because I already have one. So a lot of times say, why you keep wearing? So I'm gonna wear this shirt right until like it's gonna rip before I buy a new one. But the thing is, they keep telling me why am I wearing the same old clothes, whatever the case may be. And to me, that's the differences in terms of our mental mindset. And for you know, like I said, you know, for me, in order for me to be functioning, like to be logical, I have to have a more an organized desk. I like to have things in these buckets. I for stuff I have right that is important to me. If you ask me where it is, I know exactly where it is because if I go to it and it's not
Right.
there,
That's
it
the
doesn't.
key. Yeah.
It doesn't. That means that somebody else moved it. I did not move it. Like my whatever I have, like
Right.
it's at the same spot all the time. Like if my keys, for example, is in the same spot all the time, I don't even think about it, right?
Right.
And if I were to be sleepwalking, my keys will be in the same place. If I use it, I go back to the same place. It doesn't move. If it's not from there, it's not there from that place. It means that somebody else moved it. So for me, I have to
Right.
have this foundations of I know where things are before I can add new things to it. So that's how my mind works. But a lot of people, their mind works differently. So like you know, as far as personal management, I like to be organized. So a lot of time the space that I'm in, I work in, right? Every day I clean. I clean every day.
Right.
Like I
Yep.
like to have so it's not a big space like my workstations like my computers my a lot of and I have a lot of dust because all the fans is spinning. So I basically clean every day. I clean every day before I do any work, and that's my thing is I like to have it now because when I have that environment, my internal mindset is also organized. If I don't have it organized, and the thing is, this is also very important in terms of human psychology that I found that you know if your mind is organized and you have things that it is completely tidy up in terms of no loose ends, then your mind actually works more efficiently. Just because let's say you have something and you procrastinate, right? And then that procrastination actually has you still have some kind of a memory that holds on to that. Hey, I still have to do this, right? That particular resource is not being used in
I
terms
know.
of
It's
hey.
the worst.
So you
Yeah.
are being handicapped by the capacity, right? So the more things you haven't done that weighs on you, those part of your brain is actually have to hold on to that little piece of information. It's like a linked list, right? It just
Yeah.
holds on to like a string. So that part of your brain is not being used to do the other stuff, like your thinking and your
Yeah.
analysis, whatever. So you're handicapping your capacity, your mental capacity, if you're not having things organized and wrap up loose ends. So a lot of times you get like, you know, for example, for you, you know, I noticed you that when you cross something out, right, it makes you feel good because, you know, you actually let go of that piece of the brain
Yeah.
cell that's hold on to thing. It's being freed up the resources and it feels good just because, you know, that's the way that you operate. And I, for whatever reason, you know, has to be organized like that. My wife doesn't have to. I mean, my wife is like, hey, she's got everything all over the place, and she can function just fine. I don't know. She's different, And I think your wife is different too.
Maybe that's what we think, right? Like that's what I would say the same thing about my wife. I'm like, I guess she can function just fine with this. But like I've never really asked her like how does this make you feel, like seeing stuff everywhere? You're like, you don't have any idea what this is, what this isn't. Like, true, I can't even tell you how disgusting our closet. We have a big walk-in closet and I don't have anything in there. And it's stacked on stacked of shit, like shoe boxes everywhere. I'm like, why do you need shoe boxes? Well, I ran out of room in the shoe holder thing.
Yes.
but she ran out of room in the there's like little shoe holder things, that's like built into our closet, and like the racks and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, you have those, but like, why do you have fucking shoe boxes in front of those? There's shoes behind that she's never even. It had to have been 5 years. She's never even seen those shoes. Who the hell even knows what's in those racks anymore at this point in time? Now
my wife bought things from the store and goes directly into a closet. I have never seen her wear it. Okay, so it's not, to me, like I said, like it's all perspectives, because you look at like when you look at your things, right? Well, if you say, hey, clean up. Let us say somebody said to clean up your shit and say, what am I cleaning? It's organized. I know exactly what things are. Right. Yeah. From their perspective, it's a mess. For your perspective, it's clean. So when you look at, let's say you go to the bathroom, right? Go to the bathroom. My wife has so many brushes. I don't know why she has so many brushes, hair brushes, right? You don't need one, but she has so many of this, that. It's all over the sink, and hair blow, hair dryer, like blow dryer, the curling iron,
oh man, you're giving me.
So the thing is, for them, you ask them to clean up the space, and well, what's there to clean?
You're giving me
heebie-jeebies.
The heebie-jeebies, like now, because all I'm thinking about is my own bathroom right now, and I'm like, my side of the sink and we have there's like
I have no sink. Column. I have 4 daughters. I have no sink. Okay.
Oh my god, I couldn't deal with this. No, stop. Just stop. You're torturing me. Like this is.
The thing is, eventually, if you have girls, I have like my wife and four daughters, and they're teenager, right? So that means that if you don't master the art of don't run for trains, you're gonna be in trouble.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I am giving you fair warning.
Right.
Master the art of.
Oh, I know. Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Don't run for trains. Only way for you to get through it, because you can't change it. But you can't go say, I begged you to clean out this closet. The thing is, you're asking to clean out the closet. It's like, clean out what? It's just like somebody else come to my workspace and tell me to clean out my shit and say, well, what's there to clean? I already cleaned it. If everything's where it's supposed to be. I have wires here, have wires there, you have this little cradle there, this little whatever, right? It's there because it has a purpose. Like you were saying before, it's your shit has a purpose, right?
Yeah.
You have I have this kind of, because I do mobile development, so I have like tablets, Android tablet, have iOS tablet, I have iOS phone, have Android phone, I have like the connectors for. I have a bunch of connectors for them. I got a bunch of computers. I have like 4 computers, right? I have two like gaming rig computer. I have one, ultimate like laptop that can be a gaming computer. I have another backup, and then I have like a bunch of monitors, and I have a bunch of like gadgets all over the place. But it has its purpose. The reason why it's there is because I'm using it, right? But if you have somebody else that is not a tech person or a nerd person or whatever you want to call me, they come to me and say, hey, why do you have like 4 computers? It's redundant. And so it's the same question. Go ask my wife, why you have 4 dresses?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so that thing is, for me, I don't know if that's what the way they are born with, or that's the clutter gene that they have, whatever. But it's still, to me, if that's their beaver, let them be. Just, hey, this space is mine, right? And if you put stuff on here, I'm gonna move it. So my kids, they come to my workspace, they play, and they would put like stuff over. I would every day I clean up. Every morning I would clean my space.
Right.
before I will work. So I will take them away. I will put them back to the room, whatever. I just toss it, right? But
Yep.
it doesn't sit in my space.
Right.
It does not.
I'm with you.
And
You know,
so that's the only way for me to maintain my sanity among all these clutterness.
I cannot think about it, man. I cannot think about their space. Like if I try to think about their space, like I'm gonna, whew, like that's when I get the I like talk about don't run for trains, like you said. Like that's how I don't run for trains in my own home. Is I'm like, well, literally I see it and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go the other way. Like, you know, I'm like, I'm not going in the closet, not doing it. Like, because if I go in there, I'm just gonna go, oh my God, like, you know, like the anxiety levels just ratchet up, and it's like, what I mean, I can't change it. You can't force somebody to. You make a good point. Like, you can't ever force somebody to like how to what matters to them. Right? Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I have tried, and
I've tried
failed.
forever.
I have failed miserably. So I have learned the art of don't run for train. So for me, like I said, I don't ask them to clean. I say, well, if you like my space, well, do what I do.
Agreed. Well, actually, so I don't want to ruin some of my findings from my experiment, but
Well, you
one of
don't
those
have
things.
to wait till
Yeah.
tomorrow. Or talk about
Well,
whatever.
I don't know that tomorrow is the because this took all month, right? So I literally wrote this after I read this book, and then I don't think I wrote the second part of this for like another month, you know, because I went the whole month, you know, before I had any results. So so I don't actually know when the next.
Yeah, the next one is actually Black Swan 4 or 5.
Oh yeah, no, we got like here. Look at that. We got.
So you're gonna have a while.
Yeah, we got 217 is when I did the you know, when I finished that from 196 to 217. So that was when I officially did my recap of finished my month of year magical, or I mean my monthly challenge before I did. So yeah, so we got a while to go before we get back to it. But one of the funniest things that ended up happening with this whole experiment was I made it a point to never clean up somebody else's stuff, like i.e. my wife's or my, you know, or my kids. I guess that's one thing, but you know, like, or like my dog, like, you know, but her stuff in particular, I did not touch it. It was only either community stuff or my stuff that I was like, you know, that is all that I'm going to focus on cleaning. So the funny thing is as I started doing this every single day, and I did it every single day for the entire month, like people started to get curious. You know, Lucas started to help me organize stuff. Felicia started to, you know, get a little curious. Eventually, she ended up helping me to clean out the attic, and the attic is now clean. So it was.
Don't worry, it'll get filled up again. It's
yeah, it already is.
I mean, I can tell you. The thing is, this is what I'm saying is, you can. I mean, she'll participate, but because she's not she's a beaver, right? If she's a beaver and she's doing the beavering thing, and you ask her to do some foxy thing or whatever, she can probably participate. But it doesn't continue. It's going to revert back to the beaver thing again. Whatever you want to call it. That's why I say beaver must dance. So let them be what they want to be. And so to me, like I say, whatever room you have, you can clean all day long, right? It's gonna get filled with something new. It's got, for whatever reason, that's it's like you eating junk food, right? Because if for whatever reason we become a conditions to getting these like tiny bits of dopamine hit just because we eat some food or we buy some stuff, right? It's gonna go put on the shelf. My wife bought so many things that it has no use in my mind. Has no use, you know, things like she bought one time she bought flowers, right? She bought a bunch of flowers all at once. So like there's like 5 different kind of flowers, right?
They're gonna die. Yeah,
they're gonna die. But the point is, whenever she have you know, some kind of a she gonna get in a mood of buying stuff. She go buy them. She go buys like, you know, jewelry, and then she go buys like decorations, and she go buy like furniture. Like we have our own we call the kick, right? You know, we have our own like when we were talking about, hey, I'm in this business books kick, I'm in this whatever, they have theirs, right? It means like my wife sometimes like seeing on the spree of buying furniture, she goes to buy a bunch of furniture, and you know, and then she goes on, she buys a bunch of like, so there's a phases that she goes through. But like I said, you know, things can get filled up if there's room for whatever reason. If she sees them, right, if she sees them empty, it triggers her to go buy, to search and buy.
Yeah,
And so
I
so
agree.
the thing is, if you clean up yours, right? If you clean up yours, it's fine because whatever you buy, she's not interested.
Right.
Okay. But whatever she is into, right? If something is gone off of the counter or whatever that used to be there, right? She see like something's missing, so you go find something to put on it.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right.
No, I agree.
So for
Yeah.
whatever she did, like whatever she did, it's not gonna last.
Oh, I trust me. The cabinets that I cleaned out, and the attic that's cleaned out, and drawers and stuff that were all cleaned out. Like, by the way, I had a fucking blast doing this. Like, it ended up being like a really really fun challenge. I would encourage anybody to do this, but I'm gonna say my results. I'm not gonna tell anybody. All right. My last thought on this one. You said something earlier that kind of triggered a thought for me that I wanted to go back to. The feeling of like you said, I can't remember exactly what you said, but it was something along the lines of like when you know where something is, like you can free your mind up for other things, and that anxiety feeling really of knowing like of when you don't know where something is, like and having to try to keep tabs of
Uncertainty. When you have
right,
an
yeah,
uncertainty,
right,
it creates this anxiety feeling, right?
right,
So an uncertainty has a lot to do with like, hey, I have to do something and I didn't do it yet, so it holds onto it, and that thing constantly is pulling at you and give you anxiety, give you anxiousness. Same thing with the
yes,
unknown. Say, hey, I don't know where my keys are. I don't know if I locked the door. I don't know. So those things creates anxiety in your head because whatever that particular part of your the portion of brain that holds on to that thing, it is inaccessible for everything else. I mean, your brain is very has less capacity to do critical thinking and other things that you do.
right,
Second, they hold on to that piece of information of an uncertainty creates anxiety, and anxiety creates spiral down effect. This is what I'm saying is when it's spiral down effect
yeah,
is
yeah,
when you have anxiety, for example, when you have anxiety, you're going to eat bad food. When you eat bad food, you can't sleep. When you can't sleep, you have even more anxiety.
oh yeah, no, I
And
agree.
then
Well,
that continues.
so I was what that triggered for me to think about was I think one of the reasons why writing has been so impactful for me in my life is I've always just had a million. I mean, you've known me now for many, couple 2.5 years now, and like obviously, like my brain doesn't fucking stop half the time. I'm there's like a new idea that pops in, and and I spit it out, and we keep going around, 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 right? Well, this is how my brain's always been all the time, right? So whenever I would get things in my head, like if I didn't get it out of my head, it would just be in my head all the time, and
Yeah,
I
you
wouldn't
held
want to
on
forget
to
it.
it when let
So I would
go. So the only
right,
way to
right.
let go is you write it, and when you write it, that
It's
piece
like
of the
free.
brain
Like
releases it.
it's like fucking freedom, honestly. It's like like it feels like
It
the more
feels
that
like taking the boulder that you've been carrying on your shoulder and put it down. That's how
yeah,
it feels.
I mean it's the most freeing feeling ever for me personally because like I don't like I've told you this, like I don't remember half of these reflections that I wrote. Like it's like I go into I was just writing about this morning. It's like Amelia and I, when we're writing in the mornings or something like that, it's like it just I go into like this trance, and all of a sudden I come out of it, and there's a reflection done, and I don't know if it's good or not. I don't really care, but like the thoughts out of my head, like it's solidified. We worked together to put something out of our mind and turn it into something that was a formulated thought, that we could share with ourselves and other people, and as well, I guess not necessarily as the goal, but like just for ourselves. Like it's like Dumbledore, when he would like pull out his thought and put it in his little what I'm talking about with Dumbledore and Hogwarts, like when he would put his thought into his little bowl or whatever, to store it for later. It just is like it just frees up your mind to go do all the other shit that you have to do or worry about or care about or value or what you don't value, or like like stomach issues that you're
I mean,
having, or
you think
like
about
it's
a person who has so many things in their head, right? If you ask them to do anything, how can they focus?
They can't. I mean, like, well, you
Exactly.
can, but
My point is,
you could grit through
no,
it. You know, you
you
can
can't
grind and
focus.
grit and whatever. And just, but you run into it. You run yourself into the hole or into
You
into the
cannot
ground.
focus because the thing is, like I say, depending on like in my job particularly, right? There's no way I can do any programming without focus. Because when I do a programming, I mean that the only thing is in my mind at that moment for the next hour or 2 hours.
Right.
The only thing that is in my head is whatever I'm doing. Everything else, right? Like whatever else that I worry has to it has to disappear. Otherwise, it cannot finish the work, right? So, like I said, you cannot focus if you have things that say, "Hey, I have to do this, I have to do that," right? The concept of having things in your mind. Let's say I have a bunch of things in your mind. The let's say normally I can focus like 4 hours, right? If I have things in my mind, I probably can focus for like 2 hours, and then if I have more things, it's 1 hour, and then more things is only 15 minutes. So you say, hey, yes, can you focus? Yes, but very short duration. That means that whatever you're doing, it's 15 minutes, and then you get distracted by something else again because that thing is keep tugging at you say, hey, don't forget, you have this thing, don't forget, you have this uncertainty, don't forget. So you can't focus. It's going to give you 15 minutes, 15 minutes. So what you do in 15 minutes? A lot of times you're going to have very shitty observations and critical thinking because 15 minutes is not enough to kind of, and then after you get distracted, right? You unload because it unloads a bunch of things that you already loaded. It loads back the little nagging memories. Hey, don't forget this. I have to do that. Oh, I have to pay taxes. I have to do this. I have to do that, right? And then you load that new things in, you unload the thing you just focus on, and then you go back to another next thing. You spend another fucking 10 minutes trying to load the same fucking thing you actually load into to do the work. So you probably will do 5 minutes of work, if any, right?
Yeah,
and
no,
so
I agree. Yeah,
and that's the thing is for my experience is in my line of work, I can't focus if there are a bunch of things. That's for me. If I'm not organized, then I can't do any work. But if I'm focus, right? I can do that for 8 hours and I can finish the whole project in one tenth the time of somebody who is very distracted. I mean, probably like 100 times faster than somebody distracted because they're constantly distracted. And so that's why a lot of times is you for me, like meeting is not good if you put it in the middle of the day, right? Either in the beginning of the day or end of the day. Like you meet in the beginning of the day, I understand what I need to do, then I do it, and I need to focus. But and a lot of times meeting in the beginning of the day is actually better for me than the end of the day because I don't need to be like, what do I need? Thing is, let's say I have a meeting on the end of the day, right? And there was some kind of things I need to do. Okay. So during the day, I'm holding on to. I have this meeting.
I got to get this done before this meeting.
So there's things that hasn't happened yet. It hasn't completely crossed off, so you can't cross off. But you still on because you have a meeting today, right? Whether or not you prepare for the meeting or not, you still going to say, "Well, I have a meeting." So that piece of information gets sticks, and one of your brain cells is holding on to. So that means that particular brain cell is inaccessible for you to focus on the things that you focused on before that meeting. So meeting at the end of the day is actually bad, right? For me, it's meeting for the day. When I finish the meeting, it's crossed off. That means I don't have to think about it until I'm done with this thing. And maybe the meeting is in the next day, whatever. I can do it afterward. But if the meeting is at the end of the day, right? In the beginning, right? Even though I don't have to do anything for the meeting, I say, well, I still have to remember I need to attend the meeting. I wonder who's gonna say what the meeting, what's gonna come out of the meeting. So whatever things comes up, and it completely holds part of your brains back because it's being used to hold that memory. And so whatever you do during the day to focus on that piece, a portion of your mental capacity is being locked up, and you can't use it. So that you become less efficient than you would have been if you have done the things that doesn't make your brain hold on to the memory, right? So for me, it's like you think about how a lot of the little things, right? If you have little things that you don't gotta wrap it up, then it becomes a burden. If regardless how big or small it becomes like, I gotta do this. Oh, I gotta pay taxes. Oh, I gotta send this to the post office. Or just tiny thing like that is still going to affect your productivity, just because your brain, if for some reason it holds on to it, unless you write it down onto something and you put it onto, and basically your brain say, hey, I have something here, I don't have to worry about it. And for whatever reason, that trick worked.
Right.
That trick worked because your brain say, hey, I have it stored over here. That means I don't need to remember it. So your brain allows you to let go of that piece.
All you need to remember is how to go find it. Like, oh, I know it's here, so I'll go, when I want to go look, I'll go look,
So
like,
instead of having 10
that's
cells,
this journey for me,
I have 10 cells holding 10 different memory. You have one memory holding, say, where are the things I have to do. That's it. So you free up the other 9 cells to do the thing you need to do. So for me, that's my philosophy on stuff management in mental management in a nutshell.
You want a free mind. I mean, like that's it. Like you want your stuff where your stuff is, so you can free up your mind to go do, so you can go be a beaver.
And the thing is, one other thing I find as well is that when you are thinking and you have anxiety, then you associate a negative anxiety feeling with thinking and imagination.
Yeah.
Because but when you are completely organized, you like to think.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
in today's
100%,
society,
yeah.
I kind of like notice a lot of people don't like to think. They only like to do things because
that's why they sit on their phones all day long.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, thinking has created this negative associations of a negative feeling, right? Because a lot of people have anxiety. They have to pay bills. They have to say, hey, my boss doesn't like me, or this person doesn't like me, blah blah. So they have all these anxieties. The uncertainty creates anxiety, and they have all these things. And then when you trigger something to think, right, you're in your head, right? That means that whatever's in your head, you're gonna have to deal with it. And those anxiety is in your head, you're gonna have to be able to handle it. If you don't handle it, then that's why people don't like to think, because whenever they think, it triggers this emotional negative feelings, and it shies them away from thinking. So you ask people to read books or whatever, they start reading books and think about it. Well, other stuff, bad memory comes flooding into their head, and they say, I don't know, this is it's no fun. Thinking no fun. And so to me, it's, a lot of people are averse to thinking, averse to do critical this and that. So they like to have a movie, right? A movie would actually tell them how to like, you don't have to imagine, you just have to go and look at it. You don't have to go to your brain, right? Because let's say a perfect example would be the meditation. When you meditate, right, there's a lot of stuff you think of because you're trying to calm your mind, right? And your mind's gonna fly because you're tuning into your mind. So thinking, that's the same thing. But when you watch a movie, for example, right, you don't have to think. When you watch a video, when you watch something social media, you don't have to think. So that's why it doesn't trigger the negative emotional feelings, because you're being given the image versus having to come up with the image and processing in your head. Because when you're processing in your head, the stuff nearby it's going to pop up, and you got to know how to do it. So that's why I think the most important aspect of you want to be a thinker, you want to be a critical person, you want to be a considerate person. Like, you have to think, right? And to be a thinker, you have to like thinking. So in order to like thinking, you have to evoke a positive emotions instead of negative emotions. So if you prepare your brain to think, then the positive emotion will overwhelm any negative emotion. Therefore, you're gonna practice and condition your brain to like thinking. So it's like training an elephant. So this is what I found through my number of years of trying to figure out what are subconscious doing, what are my brains trying to say, and blah blah. So in a nutshell, that's in my philosophy of mindset, mental capacity, stuff management, and clutterness. I don't think it's about clutterness in a way, but clutterness reflects what you are inside.
Storage. Yeah. It's about storage and freedom, open space. Like that's,
it's about unburdening, right? Because
you
don't want because a lot of the stuff that you have, right?
Stuff is a burden if you don't, if yeah, no, I agree. Like that's what this book's about, is like stuff is a burden. Like when you leave this world,
Because
like,
you think about
you're
it. Let's
burdening
say
other people.
let's say you go and you don't have a job, right? You go and apply for a job, right? You have an interview, right? And then you waiting to for them to make a decision to call you and say yes or no, right? You have more anxiety because of the uncertainty than to have a yes or no. Even if they tell you a no, it's a relief for you.
Right. Yeah.
You think
You're like,
about
well,
it.
I can move on, yeah.
Even if the worst case scenario is, hey, you're not the right candidate, it's still a better state of mind
At least you know, yeah.
than the waiting, the uncertainty. The uncertainty is what causes anxiety. So if you can make something certain, or you can store it off storage, off of your mind somewhere on a piece of paper, on a computer, whatever, as long as you know where it is,
That'd be funny
your
if
brain's able to let go of that piece, and so that you have the other stuff to be certain of, and then you have a more positive associations when it comes to thinking.
Yeah, no, but final thought, because I gotta go, because I gotta go to bed. But you made me think about like writing down, hey, remember to be anxious about something for a little bit, like, and writing a note, like put it a post-it on your thing. Oh shit, man, that was tough. Oh god, I got so many things to do, and then you're like, okay, I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be hilarious if you like literally wrote down your anxieties.
I mean, you are training your elephant. So you think about
right.
like the rider and the elephant. You are the rider.
Right.
So the elephant is just reacting. So any anxiety you have is your elephant is not being conditioned by you. It's not being trained properly.
No, I know. I'm saying it would be really funny to like, just to write reminders yourself to be anxious, to be like, oh God, I forgot I got to be anxious for a little bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you like wrote down your anxieties, not to like get them out of your head, but to like remind yourself to be anxious about something, and you're like, oh yeah, I got to do that, crap, like,
Nah.
no, it'd be funny. All right, well, that actually ended up being a more fun discussion than I thought it was gonna be, because I was worried, because this was like kind of a half finished reflection. So that was fun. Awesome. All right. Well, question we can leave for everybody for tonight is what's your personal philosophy on stuff management? I think I learned something tonight. That was interesting. So thanks for coming. Any final thoughts, Drew?
I don't know. I mean, yeah,
you're purged.
I'm overdoing it.
Yeah. We've officially been purged for the night, so now we can go.
Yeah, because if I say something else, you'd be here another half hour.
Right. Fair enough. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see you all tomorrow night.
Yep. Let's